Okay, here we have a 2002 Ford Sports Trac. It has a 4.0 engine in it. This vehicle came to us via a customer. They had just bought the vehicle, and they were, from what I understand, I guess they bought the vehicle and then realized that the back doors didn't work. They didn't open, so they originally asked to check that. However, I've worked on a few of these Ford Sports Trac. I'm also Ford certified, and I know these vehicles inside and out. And so there's a few other things that when you buy these vehicles used at 70 to 80,000 miles, there's a few other things that you also want to look at, like spark plugs, wires, transmission service, brakes. And so today we diagnosed the door situation, we diagnosed the transmission fluid, and looked at a few other things, and we're about halfway through our 152-point inspection. So I wanted to take a minute and just kind of show you where we're at. First of all, let's go and take a look at the doors here. So the doors on this vehicle are not too hard to get off. You just have to be very careful because they're plastic and you can break things, and if you do that, then it ends up costing you more money because you don't want to send a cracked door panel back to your customer. So, you know, these little plastic rivets and whatnot and clips and all that other stuff, you just got to be careful on pulling that out. I like to use, actually, this is actually a brake spoon, but I use it for multiple reasons, and I like to use my little surgical picks that I call them and whatnot, and so that's how we get this door apart. Now, I actually have both doors apart, and the issue is regardless of whether or not the child lock was on or off, the door wouldn't open. It didn't matter how it worked. And so what I did was I went ahead and I removed the door handle because I noticed that the door handle was kind of stuck out at a degreed angle. And so I went ahead and I removed the door handles and I took a peek at them. And let's go up front here where I have them. Let's take a look and see what we have. Let me turn the flash on for you here. Okay, so we have our two door handles here. And if you look, they are actually properly set the way they are supposed to be. Now, if we open them, and I've only got one hand here, so I'm going to set the camera down and open it. Now, if you open the door handle, notice the angle it's sitting at. It doesn't go back to its original position. Here's our mechanism right here. We have to manually push down on that in order for the door handle to go back in its original position. So I understand how these door handles work. So what I needed to do was I needed to look for the anomaly. Obviously there's going to be a broken tooth in there. And if you look right inside of there, you can see where a tooth on a door handle has broken off. And that is why these door handles will no longer open the door regardless of whether the child lock is on or off. So both of these door handles are going to obviously need to be replaced. These are, I don't know, maybe we can get these aftermarket, maybe we can go to the junkyard, but honestly, if I have to go to the junkyard to get parts, that means I have to tear another door apart, and I'm basically doing the job over again. So we now know for a fact that we do need new door handles, and they're missing a tooth, and they're broken. So there you go. So there's the door handle. We also took a peek at the spark plugs and wires, and as you can see, we have a spark plug that is a little old. It does have some wear and tear, but it still has a good point on it. However, if it was my vehicle, I think I'd want to go ahead and change them out anyways, so that way I could start my own service interval on it and know that. I'd say these spark plugs probably have about 5,000 plus miles on them, maybe. Also, if you pay attention to detail and you take a look at the plugs, now you can tell that this engine, because it does look like it came from a used car lot or maybe a dealership or something. This engine has been steam cleaned. It's really, really clean, and there's evidence that it's been steam cleaned. So the plugs, they kind of look new, but let's see if I can get my camera to focus here. All right, there we go. If you pay attention to detail and you look right here, You see some discoloration. And that's fine, but that's indication that these are old spark plugs and that these are old wires. They probably haven't been changed out for a while. So it would probably be wise to go ahead and put new spark plugs and wires in here. Now, the other thing that we look at is the transmissions on these vehicles. This vehicle has 79,000 miles, and the best thing to do is to service it somewhere between 70 and 90,000 miles, so that way you don't have to rebuild it at 140. So what we do whenever I work with transmission fluid, I like to find something white. Now, I like to use, this is actually a painter's filter, and so I like to use this when working with transmission. So I'm going to pull my transmission dipstick, and I'm going to wipe it right across here. And the reason why I use a white material, a white cloth, a white piece of paper is because I can see kind of if there's any metal shavings in the fluid. So here we go. We're going to drop this on here. And that looks pretty good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to wipe it across there. And now if you kind of look at it, let me see if I can get my focus back for you. Now, if you kind of look at it, and you can kind of see that I've already done it once over here. If you notice, there's just a tad bit of hint of some gray inside of there. You can especially see it there. You can see it there. And let's see if maybe we can get it one more time. I'm going to set this down real quick. All right, and there we go. So we have 3 different splotches. The first one we made has a little bit of gray. The other 2 don't have as much. So what I would like to do on this vehicle is obviously service the transmission. And what that entitles is that means that we're going to drop the transmission pan. We're going to take a peek at it internally. We're going to replace the internal filter. And we're going to replace all the fluid that is inside of that pan right there. And hopefully we'll be able to get some of that metal material out of there, and that will prolong the life of the transmission. So right now we do know that we do need two new door handles. We definitely want to do spark plugs and wires, and we definitely want to do a transmission service. Tomorrow I will check the brakes on this vehicle, and we will go from there.